High-heeled shoes are a scrounge that deforms the foot. Let me remind you that this is not a method of treatment, but a method of prevention, so we get some sagging. And this may be associated with additional gynecological problems. We know that the foot is an organ that positions us in space and has a certain weight distribution. 70% of the pressure falls on the heel, 30% falls on the forefoot. When the patient puts on model shoes, there is an increase in the load on the forefoot. In this case, the pressure on the heel area is reduced to 30% and 70% of the load is transferred to the forefoot. When the pressure on the forefoot increases, the forefoot arch begins to collapse, creating conditions for the development of different types of flat feet, as well as a prerequisite for the appearance of hallux valgus. The ligamentous apparatus cannot withstand 70% of the load emanating from the whole body when wearing high-heeled shoes for a long time. At this stage, this type of brace can help you to support the foot under excessive stress by maintaining the forefoot arch. And naturally, this is a method of preventing the development of flat feet or hallux valgus. You will not be able to use this type of orthosis to relieve pain. This is only a component that helps prevent the development of further disease. High-heeled shoes are a scrounge that deforms the foot. Anything higher than 6 centimeters gives additional stress. And we remember that behind the foot there is an ankle joint, a knee joint, a hip joint. When a person wears model shoes for a long time and unnecessarily, the entire muscle frame of the front part of the body falls forward, so we get some sagging. And this may be associated with additional gynecological problems, varicose veins of the lower extremities, and varicose veins of the pelvic organs. The prevention method in this form of orthosis at some stage will reduce the likelihood of these problems. In this case, such orthoses are suitable. They soften the offensive load and correct the forefoot arch. Prevention is always cheaper than cure. These types of pads are divided into right and left. They should fit the shape of the foot. This pad is for the left foot. The difference between the two is in the formation of a bulge. This orthosis helps to support the arch of the foot. This orthosis helps to cushion the shock of an offensive movement. In fact, to understand how to properly redistribute the pressure, additional research methods are used, such as computer plantography. That is, on it you will clearly see at what moment there is excessive pressure on the foot. And naturally, the specialist should reduce this stress. This orthosis is fluted. It will allow the foot to not slide as much when the foot is loaded. This orthosis clearly aims to support the arch. Therefore, if we know that we have a problem in the form of flat feet, hallux valgus, at the initial level, then this version of the orthosis is suitable for use. If we feel pain in the forefoot that is a manifestation of metatarsalgia, then only these pads can be used here to soften the shock stress. Let me remind you that this is not a method of treatment, but a method of prevention. Such orthoses are a tool in the hands of a doctor, in the hands of a rehabilitation therapist, which helps to reduce the likelihood of complications and helps during the rehabilitation phase. We can say that, in principle, these things can be used mainly from the point of view of prevention. We need to wear fashionable shoes for a specific reason, then the use of this type of orthosis helps to reduce the likelihood of developing foot health problems. It is advisable to adapt them in advance because for some time you went without them. When you put pads in your shoes, you will still put additional stress on your foot. It will be a corrective load, but it is still a significant impact. These orthoses are an additional object in the shoe, so you will need to get used to them. It is recommended to walk around the house with these pads for some time or just go for a walk so that the feet adapt. When the foot gets used to it, you can safely use the gel insoles for long-term wearing of the heel. Remember that orthoses reduce the likelihood of complications and do not cure or remove the problem if one already exists. The pad is located under the forefoot arch. You will feel how it will lie down.